Welcome to Living on Purpose Minipod. I'm Mark Pumphrey along with my co-host Dr. Kristie Stewart. And you know what we're going to talk about today is a little bit of traveling. You know, Kristie, you have been to a ton of places. Really downtown Indianapolis, right? You've never been anyplace else?
Yeah, no, I've never been anywhere else.
No, but you've been to an extraordinary amount of places. And it's interesting, you have developed these rules. And you have narrowed these things down to basically 3. And I think that it's interesting that we kind of go over this in the mini pod, but in the full podcast, we go over a lot of stuff.
We cover just about anything you need to know on traveling, whether it's heading downtown Indianapolis to go shopping, going to Disney World with the family, or heading to Quito, Ecuador for a week.
Right. And I mean, it's an essential listen, you know, so let's just jump right into your 3 never rules.
My 3 never rules of travel are: number 1, that you never let anyone control your water. Period. Never let anybody control your water. Now, that's not as big of a deal if you're going downtown Indianapolis to go shopping, but it is a pretty big deal if you're going especially into another country. So what you need to do is when you get on the plane and you're through the last security checkpoint, I know it's expensive, but buy enough water to get you to your destination. And then once you get in your destination, you should always have enough water with you on your person, and so you know that you can get more water. Period. Okay. If it's a day, if it's an hour, if it's 2 days, whatever it is, you need to have it on your person.
So never let anybody control the water.
No, never. I got a good story that we were in Peru and we were going out on a Lake Titicaca to one of the outer islands, and we stopped and bought, it was like 20 gallons of water or something to go with us. And our guide was like, "There's water on the island. There's a little store." And I'm like, "No, I'm not depending on that." And the group that was with me were kind of like, "Well, no, he said." Yeah, I don't care what he said. And when we got there, they had no water.
Oh, yeah. And we even found this true in the United States when we went to West Virginia. We went canyoning. It was beautiful. I loved doing it. And the guides had no water. You actually had to give them your water, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, again, this seems pretty simple, but this can save your life. Put the water in your backpack, put it in your purse, do whatever you got to do, make sure you have your water. Number 2 is never get in a hurry.
That makes sense.
Okay, you get in a hurry, you become a victim. You start pulling out the map, right? Then it's like this big sign of, "Ooh, tourist." You make mistakes. You stop paying attention. You sit your purse down, you sit your camera down, you sit your kid down, and you get in a hurry, and then something vanishes, and you have no clue of what happened.
And this is where panic starts.
This is where panic. You can't get in a hurry. If you start, there is another plane. I promise. There is another bus. There is another train. There is another something. You cannot get in so big of a hurry that you start making mistakes, and that is kind of just human nature. Right? And especially if you're in another country where they're speaking another language. Now you've got a whole nother scenario going on. Sit down, right? Sit down, go into a coffee shop. If you miss your plane, I actually have a picture of my flight with my group on it, flying away, and I took it from the parking lot. So it happens, right? It happens, but you can't let yourself get in a hurry. It becomes very dangerous, especially in a third world country, but it doesn't really matter. New York City, Chicago, downtown Indianapolis, you start getting yourself in a hurry, you can get yourself in real trouble really quickly.
That leads right into number 3, right?
Right. Never get frustrated. As soon as you get frustrated, you start getting in a hurry, right? Again, there's another plane, another train, another bus, another something. Whatever. Pay attention to your surroundings, sit down and stop and regroup. If you can do those 3 things, you can have some kind of idea of the other things that we talk about in the full podcast, and knowing where you're going and all those type things. You're gonna be fine no matter where it is in the world that you go.
So remember that, folks. Water, hurry, and frustration.
That's right. 3 big ones.
We wanted to jump into another big one that you have is money. Can you kind of go over what you mean by that?
Money is a big issue. Money is probably the number 1 question that I get when people are traveling is, what do I do with my money? Or how do I pay for things? Because most of the rest of the world, you cannot use a credit card. It's still true that, you know, the 1980s commercial that they only take Visa. That's true. But you may pay up to 25 or more % higher for an item if you buy it and use your credit card. Jeez. So you don't want to use your credit card if you don't have to. ATM machines are available everywhere in the world. It costs you like $3.50 to get money. The big thing about money is work out of your pocket. What I mean by that is if you are going out for the day, again, I don't care if you're downtown Indianapolis, I don't care if you're in Disney World, and I don't care if you're in Bosnia. You need to work out of your pocket. Have your passport, again, if you're internationally, have your passport, have all your money, your debit cards, your credit cards, those things in a protective case, pouch thing underneath your clothes, and have the money that you're going to need in your pocket. If you're going to need $100 today, if you're going to need $1,000 today, whatever it is you're going to need, have that cash. If you are going to need your credit card, have that credit card in your pocket. Keep it in your pocket so that when you go,
do that?
If somebody pickpockets you and takes your $100 out of your pocket, that's fine, because your credit card, your debit card, your passport, and the rest of your money are still in a protective pouch under your clothes. If you have it in your pocket and you start pulling that stuff out, I can't tell you how many stories I've heard of people going up internationally into an ATM machine. They put in their code, they get their money out, they get their passport and stuff out, they turn around, and they don't get 5 feet from the ATM before they've lost everything. You don't want to do that. If you lose the money in your pocket, so be it. You still have all the rest. You don't want to lose your passport and everything else. It's minimizing your risk and not becoming a victim. Stuff happens, right? But you want to minimize that possibility. You don't want to be the easy target. So work out of your pocket. Use all your cash, your debit, whatever you're going to use, keep it in your pocket.
Just for that day.
Just for that day. Just for that half day. Just for that hour, whatever it is. If you need more, you need to get more money. Do it in a safe place. Do it in the back of a taxi. Do it in your hotel. Go to the restroom at a restaurant or something.
And so you got a cool story that you said on the full podcast about even doing it in a taxi. So, definitely listen to that when you get that part. So
yeah, do it safely so you don't become a victim. But money is a big deal, but working out of your pocket can save you a whole lot of trouble in losing your passport, your credit card, your debit cards. Another thing with money is, and kind of with your passport, all goes kind of the same thing. If you're traveling internationally, let someone else have a copy of your passport. If you have your debit card, let someone else carry your Visa. Mix and match your stuff between people in your group. So if one person loses something, you don't lose everything. That's a very common thing too. Scan in your passport, copy of your passport, send it to your email. So if you lose it, you can access it anywhere in the world, anytime you want to. Those are kind of the big things. The biggest thing on money. Again, we go into far more detail on this in the full podcast. The other thing that I want to cover on the mini pod, just in case people don't go to listen to the full podcast, is medical information.
Yeah, because this is a big one, right?
I generally have a lot of people travel with me that have medical issues, so this is a big deal for me. But if you're traveling and I don't care if you just have asthma or if you're allergic to penicillin, you should have that information available to you in your passport, in your purse, in your whatever. I don't care if you're going to Disney World or, again, you're going to Quito, Ecuador. It doesn't matter. Especially if you have major medical issues, get your doctor, your surgeon, whatever, to burn it to a CD, burn it to a jump drive, something, put it in with your passport, so that if you get somewhere, that someone has access to your medical information. It's one thing, you go into, you have a heart condition, you're on a cruise and you're in Mexico and you start having a heart problem. You go into the hospital in Mexico and you say, my husband has a heart condition. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know exactly.
Well, it's not like here in the States, they could just phone up the other hospital or the
doctor. Well, they will. Mexico will phone up the other hospital.
Okay.
They will phone your doctor. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. I don't care if you're in Bosnia, they're going to phone those people up or at least look it up online. But you've got to have that information. If it's in your passport, it's there. They can load that. They can get it. They can know exactly what they're dealing with.
Or medication, I guess.
Have a medication list so that if you're incapacitated, whoever is providing a service for you knows what you need. And that should be on your person all the time.
I think that's excellent advice. Well, I got to tell you, we do cover a lot of stuff in the full podcast. So if you do have a chance, go over there, check it out. I mean, we go over all kinds of stuff, right? We go over
making friends, getting drunk, blending in. One of the other things that's a big one is your kids. One of the things that you need to know to keep your kids safe, things that you might not have ever thought of. Again, we go in the money, the ATMs, the passports, the medical information, far more detail. We talk about what kind of purse you should have, what kind of backpack you should have to keep yourself safe.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yes, we did go over that.
Yeah, those type of things. Contact information, what you should leave at home, what you should take with you.
Government information,
the what ifs, what the State Department will do for you. Basically what you need to know about your hotel when you go there, the traveling around town, emergency information. Not everywhere in the world is 911 the emergency. Know what that is when you go there. We talk about those type of things.
And you did all of this so then that way people can put their mind at ease and have a good time.
Right. And, you know, some things we cover that people don't realize what your credit cards will cover.
Yeah.
Right. You know, you need to know that. That's a pretty good information. You'll save yourself a lot of money if you know what your simply what your credit cards cover. So yeah, we cover so many things that we can't cover in a mini pod. But if this interests you, if you're going on a trip, especially if you're going out